I'm going to try not to be self-deprecating because it's boring and I do it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But I am so excited to talk to you because I just watched I don't know how many episodes of Abbott Elementary because I hadn't watched it when it came out.
Uh-huh.
And it's so good. It's really my favorite kind of comedy.
Yeah.
I love comedy that comes out of human frailty, out of sadness, pain, sorrow, whatever. I love that the comedy comes out of something real. I love that it's about something. And I would imagine, and I'd love to talk to you about that, that it's making a difference out in the world as far as people's relationships to teachers, or certainly has the potential to do that.
Yeah.
So I'm just a huge fan.
Well, thank
and you're
you.
a really good actor.
Thank you.
I'm really enjoying watching you. You're really good.
Thanks, Ted Danson.
Yeah.
I have to say Ted Danson because you are Ted Danson, and I learned a lot of my acting from you, from being a child watching Cheers and watching your show with my family. And that's true. I'm not just saying that.
Yeah.
Yes, that is true of all of the wonderful actors I watched as a kid. Bob Newhart, Martin Lawrence. I learned all of that, but Cheers was big in my household. But it also was it was on TV every now and then. I guess by the time I had gotten older, it had gone into syndication.
Yeah.
And it was something my mom she wouldn't turn off. And that's how I started watching Cheers, because it would come on. And she had her little schedule of things she liked to watch. But if Cheers was on, she was not turning the TV off. Right. And she knew the episodes by heart. And this is before you could stream things. So it meant something to really know, the plot and everything of an episode. And I remembered watching that show.
Age?
Well, my age?
Yes. Then?
14, 15.
Right.
Yeah. But it was on when I was younger. I think I was probably 8 when it was airing. But it was the re-airing of it that started to get me. And when I started looking at different comedies, Friends was funny, but felt like a play. Everyone was very grounded. I remember thinking that Diane was so grounded. I almost like she wasn't acting to me when I would look at her. She just seemed like
I felt the same way being with her sometimes.
Yeah. And I didn't understand until I was older that you were handsome. I was like, do you know what I mean?
I'm an acquired taste.
Yeah, no, I knew when I got older, when I got old enough to understand that you were handsome, I was like, Annie was handsome too. But when I was a kid, I was like, these are just good actors acting, and it felt like a play.
I love that.
I really did have that realization recently. I was like, holy shit, I get why people were losing it. But anyway, so all of that is kind of went into Abbott, human grounded performances, human presentation, knowing where the laugh is and the humor is, but building it out of genuine connection with even your castmates. We have very good relationships on our show, so it's fun to actually act off of each other instead of wait for the laugh off of each other. We're constantly able to react, which is nice.
Let me back up just one sec, because then I'd love to spend a lot of time on your show, because everything about it, the casting, the stories, the directing, everything about it, I would love to talk about. You said, and I don't mean to put words in your mouth, but something like, I know it sounds whack, but comedy is, in a way, a kind of religion. I don't want to have people go, what?
Yeah,
religion?
I did say that.
But I feel the same way.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's if I had a guiding thing that I think is important for Ted to do in life, and that is be kind. Mm-hmm. That's the one thing I can really say, yes.
Yep.
This is something that I should do. I'm not always, but this is something I will shoot for.
Yep.
And being able to do comedy is, to me, in a way, a kind of kindness. Because if you get people laughing in a real, genuine, not just the joke, but at humanity, then you also are being kind, because you're reflecting things that maybe need to be looked at or appreciated. So I totally get what you meant.
You do. Because it is a religious experience to make someone laugh, to laugh with other people, that's one of the things I find to be the most religious. And it makes me think of going to a place to worship, and going to a place to have a shared spiritual experience with other people's and connect with God in that way, which is what religion is, and a series of practices that help you stay close to God. That's what comedy always felt like. The first time I went into an improv class, I came out feeling, holy.
Right.
I was closer to God because it had all the ideologies that I thought were more important. Even when you go to the basics, yes, and it was I do, yes, that's how I want to live my life.
Yes, and you're right. So,
yes.
Sadly, they call me the improvisation killer because I get
you're
scared.
No,
I'll do it for a while, and then it's like being chased upstairs by my sister. I stop and freeze and scream. I so admire people who are really good at that.
Yeah, I'm not the best improviser, but the practice of trying it and doing it, I think, makes me a better person, and it helps me to connect. And kindness is very much
yes, and is kind of the epitome of kindness.
It is, and that's kind of my MO. I don't think I'm an overly. I think I've learned recently that people are confused because I'm not an overly happy or joy, the character in the show, but I am calm and quiet and kind. And I think that comedy also helps calm me. I feel a certain sense of calmness and laughter, and watching a whole room of people laugh. That is good night. That is like watching Jesus walk on water to me. It's the ultimate thing, because if you can get a bunch of people from different races, religions, creeds, financial standings to all laugh at the same thing, it's easy to get people to hate the same thing, but not to get people to all laugh at the same thing.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So I have a lot of respect for clowns and stuff. People I
saw that you took a clown class?
I did take a clown class, and I'm not a clown because that really is a practice, an art. But when you go to circus and somebody just does something silly and everyone is laughing, I don't think people get that not everybody can do that, and that is intentional and special. Yeah.
I love that you did it even when clowns were hate clowns, or I'm terrified of clowns, or all of that stuff.
Because when you start, when you start studying comedy, you see how all of it plays into each other. I just had talked about this with Conan, but when you go and start to learn about Buster Keaton and start to learn about Charlie Chaplin and how their, form of comedy overlaps with clownery, and so I just wanted to get my hands on every part of it so I could figure out what.
God, just listening to you and reading about you, your life feels very purposeful. That this was, you didn't meander around. You kind of had your sights on comedy, on storytelling, acting, writing, from very, very early on, right?
Yes. I think I didn't know it yet very early on, but I think it was always heading that direction. And then around high school, college was when I think I became very intentional about humor in comedy too, because I think at a certain point I was trying to figure out I don't know if I'm the joke teller, but I love humor. I just like having humor and finding the humor in things and then building from there.
I'm so grateful to be part of this tribe, this lineage of, to whatever degree I am, of funny people.
Yeah, me too.
Of comedy. It just makes me so happy.
Me too.
I get around people like Carol Burnett or Dick Van Dyke, and I just...
I can't even... That's seeing him be 98, right?
Yeah, I think so.
99. And he talked about, he just won an Emmy, right? And he was talking about comedy. And that's what I mean about, like, it's this connecting religion that this night, you know, I watched his show when I was a little girl, and it really filled me up to watch him talk and be the age that he is. And I don't know, Bob Newhart recently passed. I immediately revisited his show that I grew up watching, the Bob Newhart show, the one with the B&B. Right. And I remembered how much that show was so formative for me. And well, here I am talking to you, and it's the same thing where you believe in this. Like, you do this. You probably could have done something else, but you do.
No.
Do you think that? I wonder that about me sometimes. It's like in my writer's room too. I'm like, oh man, what? I don't know if we'd be able to do anything else, but I don't know. Yeah. I can't figure it out.
I say that I'd be a butler. I like serving. I like serving people.
Oh,
you know,
interesting.
To some degree, people I know and like. I couldn't be a butler anyone. To just anybody.
Yeah,
but no.
I think I could have been a teacher for sure. But no, this is where we wound up. I was thinking about you too, and like even when you appear in Curb, which is naturally more crude comedy, but you still even bring your essence to Curb, and which is what's unique about your humor, your offering to the religion of comedy, is that you still bring Ted Danson to Curb, this sense of kindness, even when in that show you're not being kind.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Because I'm so on Ted Danson's side whenever, you know, you come there and you're dating the ex-wife. I'm like, yeah, I mean, well, yeah.
That pissed me off so much. I have you met? You probably haven't. My wife, Mary Steenburgen.
I love her. I didn't know she was your wife until very recently.
Oh, I love hearing that.
I love her.
Oh, I'm all right. Come to dinner, please.
She's so funny. Oh, sorry, go ahead. You go ahead.
You go ahead.
She's just so funny. Her comedic timing is crazy.
Yeah.
So of course, it's beautiful. I love that you guys are a beautiful couple.
And we laugh. Oh my goodness. So much. I'm jumping around, but here's why I wish Mary were here. Mm-hmm. Napoleon Dynamite was one of her favorite movies of all time.
Me too.
Will Ferrell is one of the, I'm taking this from what I learned about you.
Oh, yeah.
Will Ferrell, is one of your favorites.
Yes.
She played his mother twice.
Yep.
Yep. What else? There was something else. Norman Lear is my hero.
My hero too.
In life.
Yeah.
But anyway, I love all of the references that I've heard you say about this lineage of people that are important to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they are. And you feel, or I would feel like corny about that sometimes, because I'd be around like my film friends and they're talking about all the film people or the actor people that are inspiring to them. And not that those people aren't to me as well. But it really is like comedy that fuels me, and people who take comedic risks, and the good, the bad. I was just having that conversation too. I like what people consider bad comedy. I still like it because it makes somebody laugh. Like people are always like really mean about Adam Sandler movies. I'm like, well, he's making half of America laugh with Jack and Jill. So I don't know. He's doing something that makes people happy. And I don't like to be snobby about comedy because it's just not the world to be snobby in.
No.
I don't think. We're supposed to be where the snobs aren't.
Yeah. And I kind of feel like comedy, I'm maybe saying this because I couldn't go off and do Tom Cruise.
Right.
For many reasons. Mm-hmm. But I couldn't. I don't have that in me. Mm-hmm. But I always do say that comedy is way harder because drama, you can walk in drunk, divorced, and in a really bad mood. And if you're present in the front of the camera goes, oh, this is fascinating.
This is fascinating,
and then somebody edits and the story's well told and you get drama.
Yep.
Whereas if you're not funny, you in front of the camera, your comedy, no one's going to save that comedy.
Nope.
The ball is in your hand, and it's much more of an athletic sport.
Absolutely. And you know what's been fun for me, which I wonder how you feel about this, because you've just been working for so long is we have what's special about us and what, is the thing that people like about us, the thing that people like to laugh at. We don't always know how to market or name it. When I was younger, I thought it was like, my eyes or my voice. But it's just like, no, it's kind of deeper than that. It's an essence about you that brings people joy. But as the times change and references change, right? Because the references of this year are not the references of 5 years ago. Well, unless you're talking politics, but I'm just seeing culturally things are all over the place. So I find myself now pursuing new projects where comedy is about, I need to grow with the times constantly with comedy. Does that, what am I trying to say?
Your style or what you're talking about? What you're focusing on as your writer in this?
Yeah, my understanding of the world, I feel like, has to grow. I have to understand that a joke with the rhythm, what am I trying to say? The rhythm of 2005 is not the rhythm of 2024.
That's true.
And so how do I not lose myself as a comedian and what's special about me, but still jump on board with the rhythm of 2024? And I feel like you do it because I've seen you do it. I've seen you do it on The Good Place. You're not giving us the same performance that you gave us on Cheers. And on Curb, you're not giving us the same performance you gave on The Good Place. And I know you have a new show coming out, and I can't wait to see what you do next. But it's surprising to constantly see people continue to grow. Dick Van Dyke is a perfect example of that. When he started popping up in the what's the name of those movies? Night at the Museum. I was like, how is he still?
Yes.
He's found a new rhythm without losing what's there, and I just find that to be so exciting and something unique to comedy.
So listening to you, I agree with what you're saying. I am the actor. I am not the writer, not the producer, director. I love to act. Love to act. And I'm not selling myself short, but I'm not a good storyteller. I will take your story, your words, and I will do my best to reflect it in the way that serves the piece the best. That's kind of my place. You are a writer, creator. And that to me is the person that needs to change with the times. I'm not 100% sure, or this is a question, how do you think you as an actor need to change? Because I don't know how you do that, because all you have as an actor is who you really are. Or are you thinking something else when you say needing to change?
I don't think it's change. I think it's just adapting to the new rhythm of the world. And you are an actor, but I've seen you do it because...
Right, because of the writer, because of,
but you as a performer, though, and I know this for a fact, you could just say, no, I'm still doing multicam timing.
Yeah. Is that dead, by the way?
It's not, but you could just say, I'm still going to do the multicam timing of 1980s. And that would be, which people do sometimes.
That's true. And the older you get, you want to hang on to some sort of relevance. So you pulled something from 40 years ago, which is an unfortunate way to go.
Exactly. But you can't do The Good Place and not have understood that the rhythm is now different. And I know the writers wrote it. Great show, great cast, great ensemble cast. But I see in you someone who has an understanding, new tone, new shape, new comedy. I can use my body, as an actor, I can use my body in a different way for the new rhythm. And you don't lose what makes you special, but you...
I love that you say use your body, because that to me has always been that's what I hate about arthritis. Get out of my way, damn it. I want to move.
I just found out my lead director has arthritis. I never knew. I just found out, we just filmed our Halloween episode. And it does break my heart. I know that it's manageable and stuff, but he's so agile. And, he rides horses every weekend and is always fucking whitewater rafting, giving me a heart attack. So to find out.
But I love that you were a dancer to some degree, acrobat, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Off of your dad, maybe?
So my dad was a gymnast, so he got me in gymnastics.
Like, for real? How far did he take
He went as far as college. But he wasn't in college, but he became a college gymnast, which is what's crazy. He went to trade school. He was a contractor, but he did gymnastics in high school and then did it for a college team, but he wasn't in college.
But he was good then.
He was very good. And I was good because I was small, am small, sorry, but I was,
You
small.
were. You're huge now.
so tall now. But I didn't like it. I did not like it. I knew it wasn't for me. I knew I'm 10 years old. They're waking me up at 5 o'clock to run and shit. I was like, I want to watch Bobby's World, and I do not want to do this. Do you guys remember Bobby's World? A very specific memory of mine of like, I need to watch Bobby's World. I do not want to do gymnastics. And my dad was like, okay. And then my mom was a dancer. So I actually was a dancer for most of my life until about 22 when I realized that.
But you can see it in your acting and your performing.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. I mean, the joy of using your body.
I love it. I give a lot of credit to dancing, to having autonomy over my body, especially as a young girl. Just knowing it was mine and how to move it, and that I owned it, and then also clowning, because you like...
Yeah. I love it.
I want everyone to take a clown. Puppeteering was another one, too. I took a puppeteering class, and that was another one of, putting your voice through it. All of it just helps you, I don't know, understand yourself better as a performer, I think.
Kept looking for different ways forms to tell your stories, it seems like.
Yes. I do love storytelling. I do think that's my main objective when it comes to comedy, to be the person that tells the good story. And I love the idea of bringing all the talent in. Like, one of the greatest joys of Abbott has been to bring all these talented comedians in who I know are so talented in the world, just hasn't seen them yet, or something like that.
Let's talk about the cast thing for a second. Then I want to talk about your writer's room and all of it.
Who you met.
So you have this idea kind of percolating because of your mom, maybe, who was a teacher. And you could see the humor and the sadness and the realness and all of that world. Yeah. So that was percolating in you.
Yes.
Then when did you go, okay, now's the time? Who did you approach to do Abbott Elementary?
Yes. So I had the idea, and I actually talked about it on a roof with my friend Kate, who is now a writer on the show. And it was, it's just like a throwaway idea. Like, I got this idea that was probably like in 2017. And then when I worked with my now co-producers, Justin Halpern and Patrick Schumacher, my co-producers, co-showrunners, I met them because they casted me in a pilot of theirs for the CW. I auditioned begrudgingly and actually got it, and was devastated because I did not want to be on an hour-long CW show filming in Vancouver. So I was just miserable. But I really liked them. Yeah, I had to. I keep my word. But man, I was like, I really did not want that show to go. Yeah. I was like, I really was like, oh, this isn't for... And that's how I knew I wasn't... I felt like that's how I knew I wasn't an actor. I know I'm an actor. I'm just saying, like... You don't want to go do unfunny material. Yeah. Or like, I don't want to do I don't want to go to film in that, Vancouver. I don't want to go anywhere. So anyway, then... That's kind of Larry David. He refused to go, east of the 405. It's kind of like me. I really relate to him too much. It really, I get bothered how much I relate to him and Curb. So they called. I remember getting the call. I was on the Transformers ride at Universal Studios. That the show didn't go. I was like, yes! I mean, I'm so sorry, you guys. I know this. And they said, you know what? Well, the thing is, we love you. WB loves you. At the time, Peter Roth, who's no longer there, was in charge. And they were like, they all want to meet with you. And so I met with all these people at WB. They were like, we want to make something with you. And I was like, okay. As lead. And I was like, can I write it? And they said yes. And so... through that, I started working with a couple of different producers. Then I wound up working on a show with Larry Wilmore on CBS. Wonderful man. The best. the best, who I give full credit to teaching me how to make a show. There's being a good writer, there's being a good storyteller. But I feel like Larry taught me how to make a show, how to make a 22-minute television show. And then the pandemic came around. This is 2020. So 3 years later, after I actually had the idea, and I was on a show on HBO called Black Lady Sketch Show that had gone down. And then I was like, between the first and second season, I start writing Abbott, but I start writing it as a cartoon because I had Black Lady Sketch Show. I had a project with Larry, which if it went, I would have been in it. But I still wanted Abbott to get made. I run into Justin and Patrick on the lot. This is 3 years later on the WB lot. And they're like, hey, what do you got going on? Like, I'm just kicking it right now. I have the show, Abbott. And they were like, oh, it wasn't called Abbott at the time. It was called Abbott Elementary. And they were like, well, they have a deal at WB. And they said, we'd love to actually make something with you now, especially a cartoon. Because at the time, they had a cartoon called Harley Quinn on HBO Max or DC Universe. I don't know what it was now. And so we worked on it together as a cartoon. And then the show, if Larry didn't go, and we both kind of looked at each other, like me, Justin, and Pat. We all looked at each other and was like, what if we did this live action? And I knew immediately that I wanted to sell it to ABC because I'd met with ABC 2 years before, and there was this woman there. The team was incredible, and there was a woman there that I knew got me, and her name's Erin Warrenberg. She's still there. And I said, I want to take this to ABC. And they were like, okay, you sure? We don't want to go streaming. I knew it wasn't a streaming show. I knew.
Why do you say that? Because
I knew it was built for families.
Right.
I knew it was built with 2-act breaks. I knew it was 22-minute. I didn't want to fight about it. I didn't want anyone to try to make it 30 or 40 or... I really believe in that 22 3-act structure. I think there's, beauty in that. I don't just look at it as a thing to sell commercials. Like, I think there's real beauty in that kind of presentation. And so I knew ABC was the home for it because NBC had done similar comedies, and I felt that it was fresher for ABC. It still had the family aspect. ABC's not a big workplace comedy sitcom, but I knew that Abbott was also a family sitcom disguised as a workplace sitcom. And so ABC bought it, and a couple of other networks bought it, but I knew I wanted ABC. And then that was it. And we made the pilot, and it was so, so good. I was so happy. I was so proud. I remember after making the pilot, I felt like I'm proud. Wow.
It was great.
Yeah, and I was like, look at, I made it.
Yeah.
I made it. I did it. And I felt that if it didn't go, I was like, well then, all right, that's it. That's been my time. I felt very confident leaving the industry if that didn't go because I knew
that was what you had to offer.
I did know.
Yeah.
And when you look at it and you go, oh, this is the best I can do. This is like my everything. All those years of watching Cheers and watching Martin and watching Buster Keaton and watching this, it's all culminated into this. And this is kind of like who I am. So like if you don't want it, that's tight. But I know that this is the best.
Okay, so you have a script. You've written it with your two producer friends.
Yes.
What do you do next? Who do you go to? Do you have already in your mind the cast?
So the cast, the only person who I had in mind was Tyler James Williams. Yes, Tyler's the best. He's just the best.
You guys are great together.
Thank you.
I mean, you want to see you guys get together.
I know.
You earned it also.
Yeah.
The writing earned it.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It was so sweet. I loved the ending.
I had worked with him on Black Lady Sketch Show, just in a sketch, and we just clicked. It was just, you just look at someone and you're like, no, you get it. We get each other on pretty much every level. Yes, we get each other. And so when I wrote the character Gregory, I realized I was like, oh, I see Tyler's face on this. And so I reached out to him and he was in, which was shocked. Like Tyler had like options at that point. He did not have to bank on a technically no-name, pilot and commit, but he did. And he didn't audition. We didn't do a chemistry read. Like ABC was like, yeah. So he was the only person, and I got him. And then everyone else auditioned. That's where it got interesting because at that point, ABC kind of wanted to stunt cast pretty much everyone. And I really
stunt cast meaning a name or a popular in this area or something, but not necessarily
the right person for the job.
Or
So the next person who I think we casted was Lisa Ann Walter, who she just was Melissa. I didn't know what to say.
Yeah.
They were bigger people, bigger names. It was just her. And that's what I like to feel like. It's just you. It was her. Janelle, especially the principal Ava. The principal Ava is they really wanted to stunt. They really wanted to slap a big name in there. And oh man. And it's okay. I love my ABC family. But I had to put my foot down and say, this woman is Ava. Because Janelle...
that's a hard part.
It's a hard part.
That's really hard because she walks that line of being unbelievable, believable, which is what she's supposed to be.
Yes.
I don't mean her acting. I mean that character is like, what?
What?
You did what?
And it's, you have to have a special thing for people to still like you, even when they don't like you. It's just, it's pretty unique. I mean, we still haven't seen many people who have it to really be able to pull that off. I mean, it's kind of Larry David-esque or clearly like Michael Scott in The Office, but Steve Carell. But this was an even different character too, because it's not, to be fair, it's not a white man. It wasn't a character who we're used to seeing different layers of. Like it's a heavy lift. And when she auditioned, I was like, that's it. And they were like, well, what about this person wants to do it? And I said, no. And I also wanted to present a new face to the world.
Yes.
You know, I get real joy out of.
I think, by the way, that's really, really, really smart when you're creating a show.
Yes.
That you have faith in, that you can trust or whatever, that you allow the audience to discover people too.
Yes.
Because otherwise you have to, after so many years of acting, I bring baggage with me.
Totally.
The writers have to work very hard to get through that to allow the new character to be accepted. Yeah.
And that's what's interesting is you want people to believe, right? We know it's TV, but you want the people watching to believe that these people are the people, especially in a mockumentary. You want them to believe these are real people. So if you pack it with a bunch of faces that people know already, you're going to have to do twice the work to get people to believe in those characters. And I wanted people, after the first season, you have no idea how much of our audience, it says something about America right now, but a lot of people believe that it was a real mockumentary. After like the first 3 episodes, I was like, oh, we are struggling, a real documentary. And then by the end of the season, it wasn't until the second season people discovered we were on a set. People thought it was in a real school. But all of that is beautiful. I remember when I was little watching TV, I don't care about the set. I don't need to know the behind the scenes.
Yeah.
I am hanging out at the fucking friend's place. You know, like that's all I need to know. But you have to do a lot of protecting and a lot of building these days to do that. And you have to create a world that's so special that people get lost in it. And The Good Place is how I discovered Manny, Jamil, like these faces I'd never seen before. And I got to discover these new people.
Will Harper, can I just say?
Him, how did I even?
Will Harper.
And you watch it and you're like, where the hell did this person come from? But for me, that man was cheaty until season 3, where I decided to be like, let me look him up. I think there's beauty in that. Like, yes, believe in the character. I hope I come across people all the time that just call me Janine, and I'm like, yeah, sure, I love it.
Yeah, whatever.
I love it. Great, but and then Chris Perfetti, who I just need him to get his just due. I think he's one of the most talented. He plays Jacob on the show.
Unbelievable.
He
is so good.
He's so good.
Yeah. Also a hard part to allow.
Yes.
In.
Not easy at all. And he blew me away with his audition. Another one, ABC was like, we got this person who just came off this show. No, I need them to be the best people. And the last person we casted, which was hard, was Cheryl Lee Ralph's character, Barbara Howard.
Her, always.
That was such a hard one because it was a balance of like know all, could be vulnerable sometimes and know nothing. could be funny. We didn't want it to just be a stoic presence, but someone who could also be funny on top of that. And my issue with Cheryl with me, I was like, damn it, she's good. I was like, she's too pretty. Like, I was like, she's so beautiful that I was like, I hope it didn't break the form, and it didn't. Her beauty only adds to the character. But that's how the cast came about.
Yeah,
we got
really brilliant cast.
Thank you so much.
And what's I'm sure thrilling for you as a writer is you could go to any one of those characters, actors, and they can carry a story.
Yes, yes.
You can go anywhere, which is just the magic.
Which is the beauty of an ensemble, a true ensemble.
But it doesn't always happen that way.
No. I feel like you've been part of really...
I've been very blessed with ensemble.
Fantastic ensemble.
That's because I wanted to be a basketball player where I learned to be team.
Yeah, me too. Oh my God, I was just talking about this with Tyler. Like, I'm a team sports girl.
Yeah, the play is the thing.
I'm a team sports girl.
The team is the thing, and it's the most fun. And I don't want to wake up in a new hotel room by myself doing some movie. I want to hang out with my friends who make me laugh every day.
Me too. And I like home. We call ourselves house cats at Abbott because we rarely have to leave our stage. And it's
Where
like
are
our
you?
stage. Warner Brothers. Yeah. It's home, and it's nice to have a home and to feel to trust each other, trust our crew. Our crew has pretty much been the same.
Who is your audience? Who's your family?
Yes. Who is even more intimate with you in a mockumentary? They're just
that's true
with you, and so these people are very, very close to us, and we really value those relationships with our crew. They're
your dance partners.
They are
because they are dancing.
Literally.
You all are,
and they are too. When we move, they have to move. It's really a very
and knowing you well enough
personal.
that I need to turn over here because this is a reaction I know is coming.
Yep, it's really. They come to our table reads. They're at every single table read to just be part of the storytelling, which I think is really special.
So tell me about the choice to be a mockumentary. Because that could be risky. Because that could be, they did that on The Office. They did that on Parks and Rec.
Totally.
Is this a shortcut? Is this an easy out for there are all these kind of, wait a minute, let me make sure this is the right thing to be doing.
Right.
As an audience, I mean.
Yeah.
And then you go, I'm pretty much immediately I went, no, I get it. This gives you so much more storytelling.
I think too.
But were you hesitant, or did you always know?
I wasn't. I think the story just called for it to me. Although I was a huge fan of The Office, clearly, and other mockumentaries. There's one I like called Ja'mie that is ridiculous. I wouldn't recommend it to people because I don't think it ages well. But it's by an Australian writer. It's ridiculous. But anyway, so I like mockumentaries, but I think when Abbott just was conceived in my brain, I remember the day, I just saw the mockumentary. And I think for a mockumentary, there just has to be a curtain to pull. If there's a world where it would benefit from, if it has a curtain to look behind, it's like the world we think we know versus the world that actually is. I think sometimes that's what makes for a good mockumentary. But once again, I think it's also, as a storyteller, it's feeling out what the story requires. Because then,
do you write the looks?
No.
Into camera?
Mm-mm.
Oh wow! So now you really have to trust your players.
Those are spiritual
to learn that.
Yeah. Those are.
Don't waste it. Don't waste the look.
And I do trust them because they know when they would or wouldn't. It's funny, too, because Cheryl, when she first started, looking to the camera was so foreign to her. As someone who comes from stage and film and, multicams, was so foreign to her. And then it weirdly kind of became a part of her character for a while that Janine is naturally very inviting to these cameras. She's excited to smile. I love being on this mockumentary. It's going to save the school. Whereas Barbara wants nothing to do with these people. Ava's presentation.
For Janine, it's vanity. It's another mirror.
Exactly. Ava is vanity because she just would love to be seen. Janine is like, Ava, and then Janine is like, this is a way for the school to be seen. We're going to help the school. Gregory is naturally like, hesitant to engage with them at first. And then they quickly become his best friends because he's the only normal person here. Yeah. So he needs them to be like, are you seeing this too? It's not just me. These people are crazy. And Melissa has an extreme distrust as a criminal. She wants nothing to do with them. She's like, get them the fuck out of this school. Where it's so, having those different relationships to camera it's so interesting for the characters. But I think, it's just like if the story calls for it, like, the shows where there's a voiceover. Sex and the City called for that, for Carrie's VO. And people try to call that cheap. It's not cheap. I think that when they conceived the story, they listened to their story and it required a voiceover. I think some stories still...
It's also, in that case, it was comforting.
It was comforting. Yeah. And I did need her to walk me through, through the stories there. I think it's the difference between, when I kind of talk with peers, if you're putting together a multicam, why is it a multicam? Is it because it's cheaper? Or is it because the story actually benefits from the ways doors open and close in a multicam, or the rhythm of writing for a multicam? Because I still believe great multicams can be made, but they need to be there. I think there needs to be a reason for the multicam. And I was giving a lot of thought to this because I just watched a black and white movie. And I was like, oh, man, I'd love to see more silent films, more modern silent films. Because, yes, we have color and sound now. But there is like a real grace and beauty in the silent film. And I would like to see sometimes more stories told that way.
The lighting was extraordinary.
The expressions on the actors' faces, like that's like... So I wonder what a modern day story of like politics right now would look like as a silent film, right? If you can't hear all the yelling and all the yapping, like what does it look like silently? I just think stuff like that is really interesting.
Which is a good way to watch the debates, by the way. And you do learn. Wait, one person is very angry. The other person seems to have joy there.
Yeah. Seeing things for what they are. But yeah. But can I ask you a question? Is that okay?
Yes. I love talking about myself.
Your new show, right?
Yep.
Is it NBC?
Netflix.
It's going to be on Netflix.
Yeah.
Huh.
Mike Schur wrote it.
Oh, Mike Schur wrote it. That's where I got my NBC brain from. Okay.
Yeah. Mike Schur wrote it. Came from a documentary out of Chile. It got nominated for an Oscar, I think. And Mike was able to, what he does so well, is to take it out of that form and make it an 8-part
so cool
series.
I really like that man.
Oh, yeah.
He's a nice man.
He is. One of the most ethical people I know.
Really nice man.
And a brain that's ridiculous.
Yeah. But able to sit down and have a conversation with baseball about you. I like that about him.
Yeah.
A lot. Yeah. He's really, really nice. And that was it. So are you excited about your show?
Yeah, I am. Part of the thing I love as an actor, whatever. I love the opportunity to go through aging.
Yeah.
And still be able to go, well, this is what comedy coming out of this age feels like. Yeah. This is what, I want to be able to do that as long as I can.
Me too.
Thank you, Dick Van Dyke.
I know. It was kind of a bummer to hear him talk because I was like, damn it, I was going to retire. But now I kind of want to see what I look like at like 98 doing comedy. Can you imagine? I'm like a little shorter, a little gray. I think it's going to be really good. I wish that's okay. I don't need to meet him. I'm just saying I hope I do. I've been able to spend a lot of time with Carol Burnett recently. And it's so affirming. It's just affirming. They
are on the same pedestal for
me too. And they're very, I don't know, being around people like that, you just makes you feel just a little less crazy if you do feel crazy. I don't feel crazy, but like Whoopi Goldberg's like that for me too. Whenever I get to see her, I just feel a little bit like, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's
why
I started doing it. This is why I am doing it. Like, you believe in it. But it's really special to be, even to talk with you today.
Well, it's fun because for me, it's like, I love hanging out with actors. I love hanging out with purposeful people who are trying to lead a purposeful life.
Yeah.
Which is you. It's inspiring. Anyway, talk to me about fame.
Whoa.
How was that for you? When was that, people are recognizing me, this is nice, to kabam, that energy coming at you? How was that? And when was it?
Right. I've had 2 unique experiences with the burst of fame. And one was before Abbott even happened. I was big on the internet because I worked for this website called BuzzFeed.
Right.
And that was a taste of also fame. Now has become very, very relative. Like there's so many different kinds of fame, I guess, that I'm speaking to my unique experience, because now I think there's so many different versions of fame that can be experienced. But the BuzzFeed part was like, whoa, like people know me in China. People know me in other countries, which was so cool. Or walking down the street and being recognized for my work online by people who I think were in my age range, peer group. People who as someone who likes to make people laugh, those are the people I wanted to make laugh at that time. So that felt affirming and also cool. Then when Abbott fame kind of hit, that felt unique because with Abbott, I never know who is watching the show. And it is wild to have people walk up to you that I don't know, so it'll be like an older white man who comes up and taps me, or where previously it would have been, I don't know, what's up? Can I help you? But they like the show. And that's interesting to be affecting so many people because of my work. And I love that. And that's the part I like, is I have this thing to show that connects us all, a piece of art that I've shared that makes you happy, and that makes me really happy. That's the part of fame that I really like, is having work.
Yes, I used to have this little prayer to my silent prayer to myself. Please don't let my fame outdo my ability to work.
That's how I feel.
If I had to just walk around with fame, it would be sad.
Yes.
Or I'd have to scramble to figure a way to not make it sad. Exactly.
And that I did feel myself balancing those two things like last year. And all of us go through it. You go through what is my place in this world as someone who people now know. And naturally the industry is like, well, come to this show, come to this fashion show, come do this thing, come do this thing. And at a certain point you go, am I here because I'm using those people, famous, or am I here because of my work? Because there is a difference. And I want to make sure that I know the difference. It's not up to y'all to know the difference, but it's up to me to know what the difference is. And so it was finding that balance and realizing I always want to have my work come first. And have my work be what people know me for, more than just my name. Or it's kind of why I stayed away from podcasts for a very, very long time. I think you and Conan might be the first I've done in a very long, because I don't know if I want people to
know that much about you.
Yeah, and I don't know if I always want them to hear me talk. This feels good because we're talking about comedy. I still believe I'm walking in the purpose. But if you just ask me what I have for lunch, I'm like, why do you want to know that?
What did you have for lunch?
A lovely Italian chopped salad.
Sorry, didn't mean to lead you down that path.
But you know what I mean.
I do. But I am oof. I feel like I have, I'm going to try to find another word than vomited. I have, spewed my life out into the world. Yeah. And it's too late for me. So how do I make use of that now is, you bump into De Niro and he's still mysterious.
Yeah.
There are people who are just these amazing, talented people who are mysterious. And there's something cool about that, but it's too late for me.
Wait, really? You really think that?
The too late part?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think not after being on TV for this many years, people know me or think they know me or have an impression or whatever.
They know you, yeah.
So how do I make use of that? And early on for me, I realized that fame is tricky. It's like my analogy of fame is being a 4-year-old kid in a room full of adults all looking and laughing and pointing at you. You can spin that kid out immediately. They'll go nutty.
Yep.
And that's what it's like being a celebrity if you just absorb that. It's kind of what you're talking about. Am I going to this because of my work or because I'm now a celebrity? And guarding against that. But I went, oh, okay. And I happened to bump into something I cared about, which was being an ocean advocate, which, is a long story, but I was able to go, oh, okay. I'm standing in front of the tent and people are coming up and saying, oh, I love Cheers. Will you sign this? I go, of course. And while we're doing this, let me tell you about this marine biologist. I learned that if you deflect all of that energy coming your way into something you care about, then you're making use of your celebrity.
Yes.
You get to use it
yes.
for something you care about.
Yes.
And especially if you stick with whatever that issue is, so that you actually are knowledgeable and not just
totally
flitting around.
I feel like that for me, I'm trying to figure out where to focus my attention. Funny you say the ocean, because that was a thing for me for a minute. I got really into protecting the ocean. I still am, but it wasn't my ministry. But I started working with, have you heard of the 4Ocean group?
Probably. It feels like I have, but no.
I was like, donated. And then climate is really, really, I don't know what to say. It has become the thing. And I care about a lot of causes. I clearly care about schools. I care about my neighborhood, Philadelphia, where I'm from. But the thing that I want to keep learning about and really want to try to pull my weight in that direction is climate change. But I still want to take the time to know what I'm talking about, to be a real advocate so that if I'm asked, I can either answer the question or point people to the right resources.
Right.
And I think it was weird because I cared about it more than I even knew. And Abbott has now won all these awards for being very green, set in a very, but it's just in my nature to want to conserve energy, want to try to make it sets it's easy to burn.
Oh, Lord.
Energy and create a lot of waste, but to naturally want to find ways to make that not the case.
Right.
A good friend of mine, Kim Bernick, she actually worked on your show, on Good Place. She was I forget her official title. I could say she's on the green team at Universal, but she helps to make sure everything is as efficient as possible there. And just my friendship with her has impacted me so much. It changes how I think about everything. So I think that might be where I put my celebrity soon.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. I mean,
yeah.
As you wish, but I think it is the overarching conversation. I mean, I for the longest time, my relationship to climate change was I'm giving at the office. I'm pouring my life into ocean advocacy. Totally. And then you realize, the big gorilla in the room is climate change, which can undo literally everything you care about.
It's
for
all
me,
connected.
All the ocean work,
out
the window if we don't do something about it. Anyway.
Wait, you said something first, though, that was really interesting to me about fate. I forget, but I don't know. You said something really... I think it was interesting when you were on Cheers, because remember I'm talking about all this different kind of fame now. It felt like back then there weren't that many different types of fame. And I felt like you were very, 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 very famous. Very famous. And the show was so big. Is that a time that were you aware? I remember talking about this with Jennifer Aniston, because we recently did an Actors on Actors, and she was like...
I saw that. That was lovely.
Yeah, and
really lovely.
She was saying how, they were just making their little show on their little set. Did you feel it? Did you guys...
Well, we started off slowly. We were last in the ratings,
I didn't know that.
1 year. I don't know about last for the whole year, but there was one week where we were dead last.
I did not know that.
Yeah. We were like 71, or as Jimmy Burrows likes to say, 75 out of 71. We were, it was Bill Cosby.
Wow.
Which I'm now... Yes, there are many things, but I'm sorry, I got to talk about Bill Cosby and his show. His show was brilliant.
The show was good.
And yes, there's the other stuff. It really was. And it dragged everything behind it. Mm-hmm. That Thursday night, we all became top 10 shows because of that show.
Wow.
Yeah. So it came slowly. Mm-hmm. I think it wasn't until we were in syndication that I walked out on the street and it was like a tornado of energy coming my way. And then shortly after that, I met this man who was an environmental lawyer, and we were trying to keep oil drilling out of Santa Monica Bay, and we succeeded, and we started a small organization. And that's when I went, oh, well, this works.
Oh, interesting.
I'm okay with this.
So that soon after Cheers, you had started getting into ocean advocacy.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's fascinating too, because Abbott, my show has been successful, right? Especially in this climate. But what's so interesting is we're in our 4th season and watching people discover the show. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about TV is like people picking up a show out of nowhere and all of a sudden it gains this new life or something.
Yeah.
It happened recently with Suits.
Exactly.
It happened. King of Queens is like one of my favorite shows in the world. And it happened with King of Queens recently where people just were like, oh, this show is fantastic. And I just think that's a beautiful thing that happens with TV, especially comedies too. I don't know, you can just pick up an old comedy and just become obsessed.
Here's my little confession is like, as soon as I hear, and you've now fallen into this category, it started with The Office, I think. Or no, maybe even Friends. Mm-hmm. It was like Cheers was over, Friends all of a sudden went through the roof. And I think I have a, shallow, petty side that's going, I don't know if I want to watch.
You're right.
Yeah, I'll be the judge of that. Or something, or fearful that it'll never happen to me again, or whatever the fear is. Mm-hmm. I put off watching things. And then I have it too. And then I watch and go, oh my God.
Yep.
And I did it to the point where I became friends with John Krasinski before I had really... great friends before I'd really seen how brilliant.
Isn't that the best when that happens? Yeah, where you become friends with someone. I have that with someone. I have that exact friendship with someone. And I didn't watch their oh man, it's going to kill me to not know who this is right now. Same thing. Watched them after meeting them and we're like, what? Whoa. Wait a second. Whoa, I didn't know you could actually. Very good friend of mine, Io, Edabiri, she's on The Bear. Yeah. And I've been friends with that girl for a long time. And people were telling me how good she was and everything. Whatever. But we became friends through like stand-up and very good friends. Yeah. Like this was my girl and I like her. Like we have a very big sister, little sister dynamic. And then The Bear came out and I went to her premiere and I literally turned to her. I was like, I didn't know you could act like this. She's like, what? She's been on countless shows before. I just didn't know. And I just had no idea. That show is, for whatever they say it is, very dramatic. And I did not know she was that much of a dramatic. I was just blown away. I was like, so you're going to win an Oscar? Is that what you're doing? Like, I didn't know you were that kind of person. But that's I had that relationship with her.
I love that.
Yeah, that's really funny.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, this week has been me going, oh shit, Abbott Elementary, Mm-hmm. And Mary had said, you have to watch this. You have to watch this. And I did that kind of,
please tell her I love her.
I will.
Please.
I will.
You know what I just watched that she was in recently? And mind blown. So, Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Back to the Future 2 is one of my favorite films of all time. Like, period. Yeah. I don't really love 1 that much. And then 3 is what I like. Like, it'll come on after 2 on TBS, and I'm going to watch it. I just, for the first time, this is how I found out you were married to her, by the way, you guys. Right? I'm right. This is her.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, holy shit, that's the lady. Holy shit. So I start looking her up, and I was like, Ted Danson. I don't keep up with
how can we?
I know.
Yeah. And you shouldn't, anyway.
That's how I feel, but I don't keep up with those things. So I had a real just breakdown in my house. I go tell the room, and this happens to me all the time, the writer's room, and they're like, Quinta, like, duh. I just found out that Daniel Craig was married to the one lady.
Yeah. Now I'm blanking, but I found out too recently.
Okay.
And, she's amazing. I love her. Yeah,
I don't just know these things, but that one shocked me to my core. But it was because of Back to the Future that I found out you guys were married. Can I FaceTime my mom after this?
Say?
Can I? She'll be so proud of me if I FaceTime her and she can see you.
Your mom?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Can we do it now? Would you like to do it now?
Do you want to do it on the podcast? I hope she answers. FaceTime
This
Dad.
is live, ladies and gentlemen. This could go south.
It won't. My dad's more inclined to answer. He actually might freak out too. It's kind of crazy. I don't know what reaction we're about to get, you guys. Let's do it. Today's Friday?
Yeah.
It's 5 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
Yeah, 8 o'clock their time. Hey, Dad, what you doing?
Helping us move some stuff out of this sister's house that had some problems. She's in the hospital now. We gotta get it ready for her when she comes home.
Oh, that's very nice. Good. All right. You're not with Mom, but I wanted you to say hi to Ted Danson.
How do you do, sir? I'm having a podcast with your daughter.
Look at this.
Hey.
I don't believe it.
I know.
I just finished watching him do those commercials, telling the lady about the towers.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that is a good commercial. Yeah.
Yeah, he's up on the scaffold in the towers ordering Chinese food.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, your daughter's amazing. I'm sure it all came from you. But it's a pleasure to say hi.
Yeah. Well, it came from you guys too. You guys in your earlier days of cinema and TV. That's all we did was watch and learn.
Told you.
Yeah. So, how's your body? Did it survive being a gymnast?
Oh yeah. That's why I'm in somebody's house right now, pulling up rugs and stuff.
Because he's still strong. He's in very good shape. It's crazy.
Well, good for you.
He's a contractor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is Mama? She's not with you. I'll call her later.
She's home.
Okay. I'll call her later after this. I just wanted you to say
Thank you for talking. Thank you.
All right, Ted.
Take care. Bye.
Bye, Ted. He's on some all right, Ted. Like,
I'm going to bump into him in Philadelphia one of these days.
He'll lose it. Cheers really was, I can't explain it. It was one of those ones that really, it's not, it's one of those shows that taught me just the beauty of a good show. It just would be on and they just watch it. We had our favorite shows, The Cosby Show, the show called Rock. Do you remember that show?
Oh, very well. What was his name? What is his name?
Charles Dutton. You know Rock?
He did live. Rock live.
Yeah, he did. And those were like favorites. But then Cheers was just on. And I remember learning that there was like a difference in my household between like Hot Thing and Thing That Is On that will be watched. And don't touch the remote. It's like, but you're not even really watching. I am. I'm listening to it. My family's big on that. I'm listening to it. Don't touch that remote. And it's like, you've seen this episode 7 times, okay? And
you said Charles Dutton, or we did, and I immediately thought, I don't know why, of James Earl Jones, who just passed.
Bummer.
One of the great.
Bummer, but a nice long life.
Long life. I saw him, one of the first Broadway shows I ever saw was Great White Hope. And it was just like, who is that?
It's one of the first ones Cheryl saw too. Cheryl Lee Ralph on my show. That was a real bummer. I very much looked up to him because his career was so vast, like so many different ways to showcase his talent. And I thought that was cool. And just him being a Black man, that was just not easy to find with many Black actors, let alone Black men. And he reminds me a lot of my dad. So that was also the other thing. He always reminded me of my father. And I saw him once, but I didn't say hi to him when I was working at the Apple store in Century City. And I came outside and he was just sitting there. It was very James Earl Jones of him to just be sitting there prominently. And I don't know if he had grandchildren, but there was a kid around him. I don't know if it was his grandchild or what, but I didn't say anything to him because I was young, but he saw me staring at him, and so he waved. Yeah. And I just waved back. And that was like one of my most formative memories because I don't know, it's just incredible. But I get sad, but then I get really happy when people have lived a long time. Yes. And I hope that they felt fulfilled in their life. And I felt that, Bob Newhart, Norman Lear. I just I hope Cicely. Cicely
Tyson.
I think it's incredible to get to live to, first of all, you're making it just to like 60 seems to be hard these days. So I think it's incredible. My grandpa, he lived till 96. He just passed away 2 years ago. And he and I got closer and closer as he got older and I got older. And my family won't listen to this, but before he passed away, he told me specifically, he's like, I feel so good about what I've done here. And it was like
that is
the most...
How wonderful.
I was like, and so when
how wonderful to say to you.
Yes.
As an example of... Yes. Old age seems like somebody made a mistake or you wouldn't have gotten old. No. And this is great. And you have this to look forward to.
Yes. And he didn't, he's not famous or anything. He served in the war and he had 100 grandchildren and great-grandchildren that he's so proud of. And I think that it was really beautiful. And it just taught me a lot about like being fortunate enough to live so long and feel like you've like led a good life or whatever. So I hope James Earl Jones had that.
I bet.
Right?
I hope so too, but I bet.
Too. Yeah.
In my mind, he did and does.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a silly question? If you had a magic wand, nothing, you can't look at what's going on in your life right now as a block or a this or whatever. If you had a magic wand, what will you be doing 10 years from now?
10 years from now, magic wand?
Is there something, are you pointing or aiming, or are you just living in this moment, which is unbelievably successful, but do you have something you also want to do, or I don't even mean work-wise, I just mean with your life.
With my life. I really want to, I've been reevaluating this recently, and I want to continue to live. I know that sounds corny, but when I was younger, I really lived. I really took risks and enjoyed life and stuff. And as I've gotten older, and especially with managing Abbott, I've become a little bit more rigid, a little bit more
the adult.
More the adult. And I don't think I can afford to lose the childlike glee that comes from living and making mistakes and taking risks. Because I think that eventually that's what's going to help me to be able to create again, which I do think is my ultimate thing that I do. And so that's kind of my goal, is just to keep living. And I felt like before Abbott, I felt like I spent many, many years building a car, right? Slowly putting together pieces of the car. And now I'm riding in the car. But like now I'm like, I think it might be time to build a new car. I might need to build, something that can go off-road. I know I need to build a nice new thing. So in order to do that, I need to feel what I need and just constantly remember that I don't have to be a boring suit. I know I'm wearing a suit, but it's not a boring suit. It's
not a boring suit.
It's not a boring suit. And I just want to have fun too. I don't want to stop having fun. That's big for me. I really don't want to stop having fun.
I can't imagine you will. So
I hope not.
Yeah.
But yeah, no magic wand though.
Well, that's pretty good, what you said.
Is that good? That's very selfish.
Stay creative. Stay having fun and being joyful and scaring yourself.
Really fix the climate if you gave me a magic wand. I'd be okay. I'd figure out my own stuff. But if you gave me that wand, I'd fix all of that.
That's funny. I met my kind of wake up call when I'm 76, almost 77. When I was turning 70, I realized that I was starting to look for a nice, soft landing place. I better get everything in order and, and settled, whatever, And I met Jane Fonda because Mary and she were about to do a film together. And it was like, holy shit, this woman has her foot at 80 on the gas pedal. And
she does.
She
really does.
No, goes full speed ahead.
Goes full. I mean, Cheryl on my show is kind of like that. Cheryl, I'm already like, I don't want to get on a plane. I don't want to go anywhere. Cheryl, that woman goes, and is exhausting as it is for me, especially as a showrunner, because I'm like, Cheryl, if you're not here on Monday at 8 o'clock, I'm going to get you. But she always is. That's the thing. She always is. She'll be like, I'm flying to Georgia tonight, and I'll be back tomorrow at 5 a.m. I'm like, that's exhausting. How are you going to do that? And she does it because she wants to, because she has the will to. I find that so encouraging. It's really cool. This was really nice.
This felt so good to talk to you.
This felt so good.
I am so grateful. This is the best part about this job is I would at a party do the who am I and not come up and approach you and talk to you. I'm so grateful for this time.
Me too.
I really am.
Thank you for having me.
I'm a huge fan.
Thank you. I'm also a huge fan, as you can tell. Family. Thank you for this. This felt like a very affirming day and a very affirming conversation.
Good. And please say hello to the writers in your room, which I feel like I kind of know, seeing how you
made the, yes.
Because it is where it begins.
Yes.
It is. I have so much respect for writers.
That means a lot to them.
Yeah.
They're going to love that. They're going to listen to this and love that.
And your cast is brilliant.
Thank you.
So anyway,
thank you,
thank
Ted.
you for sitting out and talking.
Thank you for having me. This was lovely.